Welcome back to a brand new episode of This Week on the Internet. Here are all the topics of today's episode. Oh wait, that's crazy. These topics are just insane. Anyways, let's begin. Alright, it seems like Kanye West has finally apologized for his insane actions last year, which included spamming Twitter with manic posts, was supposedly addicted to nitrous, made songs using AI, oof, those songs were pretty bad, posted a lot of anti-Semitic tweets, he even launched his own t-shirts with the swastika symbol on them, and even released a song titled HH, which, even though that it's very anti-Semitic, it's still kind of fire, I'm not gonna lie. And he also released a meme coin rug pull as well. I mean, of course he did. I have a playlist of Kanye West that talks about some of these situations. So if you want to go in a deep dive with all that, I'll put it in the link description. Well, recently, Kanye West did a Wall Street ad where he apologized for his actions and everybody he hurt in the process. And this is what he says. To those I've hurt, 25 years ago, I was in a car accident that broke my jaw and caused injury to the right frontal lobe of my brain. At the time, the focus was on the visible damage, the structure, the swelling, and the immediate physical trauma. The deeper injury, the one inside my skull, went unnoticed. Comprehensive scans were not done, neurological exams were limited, and the possibility of a frontal lobe injury was never raised. It wasn't properly diagnosed until 2023. That medical oversight caused serious damage to my mental health and led to my bipolar type 1 diagnosis. Bipolar disorder comes with its own defense system, denial. When you're manic, you don't think you're sick. You think everyone else is overreacting. You feel like you're seeing the world more clearly than ever, when in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. Once people labeled you as crazy, you feel you cannot contribute anything meaningful to the world. It's easy for people to joke and laugh it off, when in fact this is a very serious, debilitating disease you could die from. According to the World Health Organization and Cambridge University, people with bipolar disorder have a life expectancy that is shorter by 10 to 15 years on average, and a 2 to 3 times higher all-cause mortality rates than the general population. This is on par with several heart diseases, type 1 diabetes, HIV, and cancer, all lethal and fatal if left untreated. Yeah, this is a subject I don't know too much about. I don't know how much you can actually control. Like, can you control your emotions? Like, are you fine until you get into that, like, manic episode that he was in? I don't know. Regardless of that, it still must suck living with bipolar and not being able to control your emotions. And like you said, when you're in this state, to you feel like your actions are like justified. And you think that you're seeing the world more clearly now than ever. But like you said, in reality, you're losing your grip entirely. It's a little bit scary to think about. But he continues saying, I lost touch with reality. Things got worse the longer I ignored the problem. I said and I did things I deeply regret. Some of the people I love the most, I treated the worst. You endured fear, confusion, humiliation, and the exhaustion of trying to have someone who was, at times, unrecoverable. Looking back, I became detached from my true self. In that fractured state, I gravitated towards the most destructive symbol I could find, the swastika, and even sold t-shirts bearing it. One of the most difficult aspects of having bipolar type 1 are the disconnected moments, many of which I cannot recall. This led to poor judgment and reckless behavior that oftentimes feels like an out-of-body experience. I regret and I'm deeply mortified by my actions in that state, and I'm committed to accountability, treatment, and meaningful change. I am not a Nazi or an anti-Semitic. I love Jewish people. Oh God, where's Nick DeFrantis? Israel got to him.
Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise.
I'm joking, by the way. That was a joke. To the black community which held me down through all the highs and lows, the darkest of times, the black community is unquestionably the foundation of who I am. I'm sorry to have let you down. I love us. Yeah, the Jewish people might accept your apology, but the black community definitely will not. In early 2025, I fell into a 4-month-long manic episode of psychotic, paranoid, and impulsive behavior that destroyed my life. As the situation became increasingly unsustainable, there was times I didn't want to be here anymore. Having bipolar disorder is notable state of constant mental illness. When you go into a manic episode, you are ill at that point. When you're not in an episode, you are completely normal, and that's when the wreckage from the illness hits the hardest. Hitting rock bottom a few months ago, my wife encouraged me to finally get help. I have found comfort in Reddit forums of all places. Hey man, at least Reddit did something good. Different people speak of being in a manic or depressive episode of a similar nature. I read through their stories and realized that I was not alone. It's not just me who ruins their entire life once a year, despite taking meds every day, and being told by these so-called best doctors in the world that I am not bipolar, but merely experiencing symptoms of autism. Honestly, I would not be surprised if Kanye West has autism.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
But it definitely seems like he has something else other than autism. My words as a leader in my community have global impact and influence. In my mania, I lost complete sight of that. As I find my new baseline and new center through an effective regimen of medication therapy, exercise, and clean living, I have newfound much needed clarity. I am pouring my energy into positive, meaningful art, music, clothing, design, and other new ideas to help the world. I am not asking for sympathy, though I'd aspire to earn your forgiveness. I write today to simply ask for your patience and understanding as I find my way home. With love. Yay. Yeah, so that's really nice and all, but all Kanye really had to say was that he made graduation and then all would be forgiven.
What is wrong with you? Why'd you do that?
But no, in a more serious note, it is good that he's getting better. Maybe, who knows, it is Kanye after all. He could go back into another episode. Hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully he uses all this energy that he has into making good music, because obviously his recent music has not been that good. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about is the Jeffrey Epstein files update. It has now been an entire month since the Jeffrey Epstein files were legally required to be released to the public in full. But obviously, as everybody knows, the Department of Justice failed to meet these standards and is currently sitting on 2 million files. CoffeeZilla made a video covering this subject, and of the 2 million files, there's 5.3 million pages in total, and only 125,000 pages have been released to the public. So that means only 2.4% of the total files have actually been released. But again, as you guys know, the recent drop of the Epstein files that we got were pretty much all redacted, with even one of the pages being completely blacked out. So even the files that are actually getting released to the public aren't actually getting released, if you know what I mean, because half of the documents are redacted and you can't even read what's going on. And they actually broke the law here. You could just redact whatever you want and withhold names that they shouldn't be withholding. Only names that actually should have been redacted are the names of the victims. Guys, I might be the first person to come to this realization, but something's fishy going on here. And I'm gonna figure it out, okay? I'm gonna get to the bottom of this mystery. But yeah, I have not made any videos about the Jeffrey Epstein files. But if you guys really do want me to start covering it, I can. All you gotta do is drop a like, and if this video gets -3 likes, I'll do it. How about that? Also, I did get my hands on the 2 million files, and yeah, here they are. Pretty crazy, isn't it? Alright, so if you guys don't live on the East Coast, you probably don't know what's going on. But the East Coast was supposed to be getting this crazy snowstorm. And all the weather forecasters were like, oh my god, this is going to be the most craziest snowstorm ever. There's going to be like 10 inches of snow. The power may even go out. So make sure you stock up on food or water. They're pretty much making this snowstorm out to be like the hurricane that hit us like a year ago. But it's Monday right now, and it's like really bad snowstorm that we're apparently gonna get. It never happens. Like, it did snow down here a little bit, but that's it. Nothing else happened, and in fact, the snow is pretty much all melted. And the power never went out. So yeah, thankfully, none of us in our family panicked and bought like tons of gasoline for the generators in case the power goes out. Thankfully, that did not happen. That would have been like a real big waste of money, am I right? I mean, at least we don't have to go to the gas station for a while. But yeah, I totally did not rant about this because I'm too lazy to research on their topic. And I also don't have a deadline to get this video on. But yeah, that's it for this week on the internet. Told you guys it was pretty crazy. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.